A kind of under the radar story that was in Super Bowl 59 leading up to it was Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was the Eagles' former franchise quarterback, was a big reason why the Eagles won their first championship in 2017. But injury struck where he tore his ACL at the later part of the regular season. Nick Foles was put in, and the rest is history. Eagles win Super Bowl 52, but Carson Wentz retook the reins in 2018, but yet again got hurt with a back injury, and this was already when he signed an extension with the Eagles after his rookie deal would end. And in 2018, Nick Foles came in yet again to save the day and help the Eagles get into the playoffs and even win another playoff game with Carson Wentz shelved for the rest of the year. In 2019, Wentz finally played all 16 games in the regular season, winning the NFC East. But in a cool twist of fate, in his playoff debut 4 years into his career, he suffered a concussion early in the first quarter and was ruled out. Didn't suit up for the rest of the game. In the 2020 draft, Howie Roseman noticed a troubling trend. His franchise quarterback was never available for the postseason. And in the second round, Howie Roseman drafted Jalen Hurts. And this move paid to be a huge one for Carson Wentz and his psyche, because in 2020, albeit in a pandemic year under historic circumstances, Wentz caved. He led the league in interception and eventually was benched for Jalen Hurts for the rest of the season. Many reports broke out that Wentz went rogue, where at the line he would ignore head coach Doug Peterson's play calls and just audible calls at the line and throw routes for his buddy Zach Ertz. And we would see this on a consistent basis where Wentz would be kind of unhinged in his fundamentals, and we'd see a ton of interceptions and a lot of hero ball after sustaining a ton of injuries, especially to his lower body and even his back. After Doug Peterson was fired in the 2021 offseason, Nick Sirianni was brought in, and the Eagles decided to go with Jalen Hurts for the future, and they traded Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts to reunite him with his former OC, Frank Reich. Firstly, it looked pretty good. I mean, Carson Wentz did his thing. He was kind of a game manager, but at times when the Colts needed to, he delivered. But with a win-and-in situation against the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars, where they fired Urban Meyer earlier that season and Trevor Lawrence was struggling to really make his mark in the league, well, Carson had a god-awful performance and turned over the ball several times as the Colts were eliminated from playoff contention, and that was the final straw as the Colts gave up on Wentz. He was traded to the Commanders, where he didn't have a successful campaign there, and then was later relegated to a backup position with the Rams and later the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024. But looking back at this trade, the Eagles got so much back for Carson Wentz. The Eagles in 2021, they traded Carson Wentz, ate a dead cap, and got a third-round pick in 2021 and a Colts future second-round pick in 2022, which could turn into a future first-round pick depending on the snap count. And Carson met that snap count in 2021, which meant the Eagles got an extra first-round pick. In the 2021 NFL Draft, the Eagles used that third-round pick to pair that with their own first to move up in the draft in a trade with the Dallas Cowboys to get Devontae Smith. In 2022, with various moves that Howie Roseman made, they eventually had 3 first-round picks. And as one of those picks they made with the Tennessee Titans, and that brought in A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. And another move that was made was to bring in Jordan Davis, a standout defensive tackle for the defending champion Georgia Bulldogs in 2022. Now, one of these trades in the 2022 draft meant that they got an extra first-round pick in 2023 with the New Orleans Saints. And the Eagles went to the Super Bowl in 2022. The Eagles used that pick with the New Orleans Saints to move up with the Chicago Bears to draft future stand-up defensive tackle Jalen Carter, also from the Georgia Bulldogs. The final part of this trade was, again, going back to their trade with the New Orleans Saints. One of those second-round picks was used in a move in the 2024 draft to move up in the draft to trade with the Washington Commanders and snag Cooper DeJean. So if you look at this entire return on this Carson Wentz trade, they got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Carter, and Cooper DeJean. All major contributors to this Super Bowl run in 2024 for Super Bowl 59. And at the time, I was a huge Carson Wentz fan. I thought he was the quarterback of the future, and I really questioned why the Eagles would eat a dead cap number so high just to get rid of their future franchise quarterback. And for Wentz, I was so wrong about Carson. I think that I really overlooked Jalen Hurts at the time. And since then, this move has paid big dividends in not only surrounding Jalen Hurts with so much talent, but also building 2 Super Bowl rosters and eventually a Super Bowl championship roster in Super Bowl 59. And now Wentz has now seen 2 of his backup quarterbacks win the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP with him on the bench.